Welcome back, NFL Week 1, our picks for all games. It's almost game time. We're going to talk about all of our picks for straight-up winners. Then we're going to take a look at our point spread games. And we're also going to give you some tips on how to analyze turnovers and make some predictions. Let's get going with the games. We're going to start off with the Dallas at Philadelphia game. We love the Eagles here. We thought I think the Dallas could be able to score some points here. Still think the Eagles win this one and cover the spread. Friday night, we have the Chiefs and the Chargers. Great matchup there. We like the defending AFC champs, the Chiefs. On Sunday, the early game starts with the Steelers at the Jets. We like Pittsburgh. We think Rodgers wins in his return to New York. We like the Cards over the Saints, the Pats over the Raiders. We like the Raiders this year, but not in this game. Bengals-Browns, we like that as a split. We think the Bengals will win, but the Browns will likely cover that spread. And then we look at the Dolphins and the Colts. We're not sure if we have a play there. The Giants and the Commanders. I think that game's going to be tight. We're going to mention that as our teaser play. We like the Commanders straight up. The Panthers-Jags, we like the Jags in Florida. The Bucks at the Falcons, too close to call for us. We're unsure on that one. The Texans at the Rams is our upset play of the week. We like the Texans in that one. And then if we look at the Titans and the Broncos, we think the Broncos are our survivor pick play of the week. And then we have the 49ers and the Seahawks, too close to call, but we're leaning towards the Seahawks at this point. Lions at the Packers. We really like Detroit despite the Micah Parsons deal. We think that offense is going to be firing on all cylinders. We like the fact that Aiden Hutchinson's back. We like Baltimore over Buffalo. Too close to call for the Vikings and the Bears. I'm going to break down our system, compare it to the line, and then show you a little bit of our process. We're going to do here the Cowboys-Eagles game. So up here, if you don't want to see everything, just filter right there, apply filter, and what we have here is the base forecast that we use with the Vegas formula that we know. So that has the Eagles ahead by 10. Why is the line not 10 opening? Because there's a lot of Cowboys fans out there that keep it low, and they also don't want to set a line too high. But that's the value based on what we know about the Vegas line it should be. Now, matchup, this is where we apply our individual ratings, the offense versus defense numbers, and in this case, we think the Eagles have a 3-point advantage. Ignore the minus and plus here. It's kind of confusing how I have that done, how we have it done, but it gives you a final line of minus 13. What that means is that's the number we think it should be. I think Eagles should be favored by 13. They're not. They're favored by 7.5. So what we recommend here, we say value here, we think the value is on the Eagles, but we want to get that number down to 7. We think in some places now you can get it off that. 6.5 is ideal to stay, of course, off that 7-point key number. So if you notice in our previous screen, we gave the Eagles a 3-point matchup advantage in addition to our calculated opening line to take it up to 30. The reason that is primary offense versus primary defense. In other words, the Eagles are a great running team. Saquon's dominant. Cowboys can't stop the run. So that's an Eagles edge on offense. On defense, what do the Cowboys do? They throw it against this pass defense. Cooper DeJean, Quinion Mitchell, those guys, Vic Fangio's defense. Zach Bond, one of the best coverage linebackers, the best coverage linebacker in the NFL. Double advantage for the Eagles. That's what we use to calculate our matchup advantage. Just released this week, America's Game, talking about the champion Eagles. Really impressed with interviews with players like Saquon and Zach Bond. Zach Bond specifically talking about his pass defense strategy, how he lurks trying to get interceptions. We think he's going to be a big difference maker this season for the Eagles. Another pick we like is the Houston Texans, and the analysis we did there is the fact that the Rams are a passing offense, quite obviously, with Sean McVay, Matthew Stafford dominant. Matthew Stafford could be nursing a back injury. There's a possibility he doesn't play. We think that he will at least start, but go against the pass defense. We think top 3, could be the best in the league. Derek Stingley Jr., one of the best, should be able to limit Devontae Adams. We think that's the matchup we like, and we also think the Texans with Nick Chubb will try to control the clock and run the ball more to keep Stafford off the field. Not sure about you. We see a lot of questionable betting trend information on TikTok and other social media. So our new segment, Betting Trend or Bullshit. Here's an example. This team is 16-1 in its last 17 games in September. Tell us, is that betting trend or bullshit? How about this one? Buffalo's 9-1 versus the Dolphins in its last 10 games. So of these two, if you had to pick one, what do you think? Betting trend or is it bullshit? We'll go over this towards the end of the video. Now let's take a look at the updated lines and see which positions we really feel comfortable with. We've already talked about the Eagles. We like them. The line has bumped up. You could, if you like the Cowboys, you could get that +8. If you do like that position, that's the number you need to stay off that 7. Chiefs Chargers, you can get it anywhere around the 3. Again, we're going to take Chiefs minus the 2.5. We like that one. Then we already like the Jags minus 2.5. We took that early. It has crept up to +3.5 or minus 3.5 for the Jags. Steelers is suspiciously sticking around the 2.5 to 3. We still like the Steelers in that one. We're taking that side. We already mentioned the Dolphins Colts. We're uneasy with that. That's flipped. We think the Dolphins were favored early and it's turned around. The Giants Commanders line has dropped. This is one we're going to feature as a teaser. We're going to tie that to the Eagles and Cowboys. Patriots and the Raiders, we do like the 2.5. Good line. We like the Patriots at home. Bengals or Browns, what we're going to look to do, we like that under. We think it's going to be a lower scoring game than people think. We are going to take the Browns with the points, but then heads that off with the Bengals, the money line. I think it's going to middle somewhere around like a 4-point margin, 3 or 4 point margin for the Bengals. Cardinals and the Saints, we're not sure how well the Cardinals, if they're going to be able to dominate the Saints. We still will take that 6.5 point line. We'll probably do a money line as well as a double hedge. And then Bucks Falcons, we're going to avoid. Broncos Titans, we like the Broncos there. Again, that's our survivor pool pick. We want to get it under 7 if possible. 49ers Seahawks, we're going to put a small position on the Seahawks, see if we can get that +3. Lions, Packers, we really feel comfortable with that one. We know the Micah Parsons trade and all that. We want to get that up to 3 as well. We think the Lions are in great shape playing that game in September in Green Bay as opposed to playing them later in the year like November, December, where weather might be an issue. Same thing for the Texans, playing on the road but indoors. I think that'll help them. We also love their pass rush. We've already talked about it. Ravens, we like that. We don't think they should be underdogs here. We like them +1.5. And then Vikings, Bears, like we said, we're going to avoid that one. But if you made us pick, we would pick the Bears. And for our teaser of the week, we consider the Cardinals-Saints game. We really feel comfortable with the Commanders getting the -6 and the Eagles -6 against the Cowboys. Division rivalries, there's a chance the underdog could cover there, so we like teasing those two games. And then for our Survivor Pool pick of the week, if you guys do Survivor Pool, we think that the Broncos-Titans is the best advantage. You have an out-of-division matchup. You've got a rookie quarterback playing in altitude in Denver with that unbelievable pass defense. We're going with the Broncos for our Survivor pick. And for week 1, we have a handful of totals, plays, over-unders as well. We'll start with Detroit at Green Bay. And despite the trade, we think this is going to be an offensive explosion. Jared Goff's going to be throwing it. Jordan Love's going to be throwing it. Take the over 47. We picked the Texans over the Rams, not because we love the Texans' offense. We think they still have some issues on the offensive line and in the passing game. It's because of the defense. We think the defense will be able to limit Matthew Stafford a little bit. C.J. Stroud can be great, but he can throw interceptions like this. So we really feel defense is the strength. We like the under 45. You want 45 because that protects against a 24-21 combination, which is a likely final score here. 45.5 if you can get it. And our next totals plays the Bucks and the Falcons, a game featuring impressive players like Baker Mayfield, Bucky Irving, Michael Penix, Bijan Robinson, and Mike Evans. We think the scoring is going to be high. It's going to be an explosive, entertaining game. But really, we believe that because the pass defenses for both teams are suspect. They're below average, both teams, Bucks and the Falcons. So we think this is a definite over. Also being played indoors. Should be fast track conditions. Take the over. Try to get it 46.5 or lower for this. Ravens at the Bills. A lot of the smart money's come in on the under for this game, moving the number down. We got it actually at 52.5. Now it's 50.5. Our forecast, as you see there, is 27-24. That's 51. We recommend avoiding this game. We say avoid it because in this case the defenses have the advantage, but it's one of those strange cases where the defenses could actually score, increasing obviously the totals number. So we think that's a risk here with Ravens defenders such as Jay Alexander, Kyle Hamilton. So avoid this one for a totals play. And now let's check your answers for betting trend or bullshit. How did you do? So first, when we look at a weird stat, this team is 16-1 in its last 17 Thursday games in September. Well, it's kind of obvious. It's bullshit. When they use combination of factors like that, 3 or 4, that's called card stacking. Using statistics justify any position. Happens all the time on TikTok and all of that. How about this one? Buffalo is 9-1 against the Dolphins in its last 10 games. Well, this is a betting trend. These are the teams that play each other twice a year. They're in the same division, and it's recent. And also, it's the same quarterbacks facing each other, Tua versus Josh Allen. So this is a betting trend that you can trust. One thing that can kill a position is turnovers. So we've identified for this season 3 key contributing factors to turnovers. We want to analyze those. The first is a strong defensive pass rush. Look for a team that has that and also has a good secondary. If you have a great pass rush and a good secondary, that's an interception waiting to happen. Then you want to look at a team's offense, right? Is it a high-risk offense? Look for a team that throws the ball a lot. Obviously, the more frequent you throw, the more chances are going to be an interception, right? And also a quarterback that puts the ball at risk, what we call turnover-worthy plays, and a high interception count, obviously. Set up some situations in which turnovers might be likely. We can do those in player prop bets. Look at Jared Goff going against the Packers. We have the Lions picked in this game, but we still think because of the frequency in which that they throw, and maybe Micah Parsons generating more of a pass rush, a turnover and interception is somewhat likely. They just throw the ball so much. Jared Goff can throw for 400 yards, but also can throw for 2 interceptions. So we think taking Goff over 0.5 interception is a good bet there. We know they're going to throw the ball a lot, so we think the odds are in our favor. Similarly with Matthew Stafford, we have to think going against the Texans. They're going to throw the ball a lot. And again, we've heard us in our other videos stress how good the Texans secondary is. They're surprisingly good. They're both cornerbacks, both safeties, really good. We think they're going to force at least one INT from Matthew Stafford. We think as good as Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams are, we think Stafford's going to probably be forced by that pass rush, throw the ball early, and those coverage cornerbacks are so good. We think one INT is definitely in the offing. Similarly, with Baltimore at Buffalo, we look at Josh Allen, obviously reigning MVP, great season in 2024. But one thing he did, he kept his interceptions to a career low of 6. But then we looked at what they call turnover-worthy plays. In other words, risky throws that could have been interceptions that weren't. They were pretty high. So we wonder if that might regress to the mean. And then we look at what Baltimore has in the secondary, adding one of our favorite players, Jair Alexander. We think that's a top 3 secondary in the NFL. We think it's right there. It's Houston, Philadelphia, Denver, and Baltimore. We think you take Josh Allen, well, over half an interception. We think definitely he's going to throw at least one in this game based on our observation. Then we have the matchup with the Raiders going into Foxborough to face the Patriots. We stressed already in our other videos how good we think that the Patriots' pass defense is with All-Pro Christian Gonzalez. But this stat was brought to us by a viewer. We didn't know this. Geno Smith has a 20-point higher rating indoors versus outdoors. Maybe the wind affects him, not sure. This game, of course, outdoors at Foxborough. So we think we look at Geno Smith as definitely an interception risk. We thought that before we knew that information. We think it'll be over the 0.5 INTs for this one. Let's look at Justin Herbert going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. And after that playoff performance against the Texans, you might assume we're looking at going over the 0.5 INTs, but we think it's going to go the other way. We think that Jim Harbaugh is going to really push the run with the rookie Hampton and then Najee Harris. And we also look at the Kansas City secondary. McDuffie is elite, but injuries have really depleted the secondary. They got weakened depth. So we think Herbert's going to have controlled passing. I don't think he's going to run the ball more often than not. So I would go for Herbert on the under 0.5 interceptions. I think they're going to be playing it safe because they know they can't really make a lot of mistakes against the defending AFC champs. And again, we're not claiming we can predict interceptions straight up. We can look at situations and setups that might lead to them. But then you're going to get a play like this. Ball's tipped, 5-6 times, then falls into the arm. But if you look at strong pass rushes, good secondaries, situations like that, and plan ahead, you can come out and get some wins. So I hope you enjoyed this video. This was more of a summary of our positions. For more detailed breakdowns, take a look at our NFL Week 1 all picks and best bets. We do a offense versus defense analysis of all the games, kind of like what we did for Dallas and Philadelphia. And then we put out a second video in which we focus on player prop picks, similar to what we did with the turnovers. We also analyze where yardage should go up, yardage should go down, based on what we've seen here, the analysis of the offense versus defense. So again, thanks for joining.
That's all for this time. Thank you for joining. Please subscribe to our channel, and we look forward to sharing our future videos with you.